I know at least one more person who's coming in shortly, but they were waiting for their computer to boot up. So today's call, we're looking at integrity. And we're looking at systems. And in specifically, we're looking at self-integrity. Okay. And as always, you do need pen and paper. And we're going to start with a reflection. Okay. Bearing in mind the conversations we had yesterday about leadership, what it is, what it means, and the fact that one of the points that was made was it's about being accountable for our actions. It was one of the things that was said yesterday. Yeah. So I want you to just reflect on this question. And I want you, for the whole of today's session, it is absolutely imperative that you are completely honest with yourself. Don't give yourself any way out of the conversation. Don't give yourself excuses. Don't kind of go on mostly. No fudging it, okay? No fudging's allowed. Today, it is really important that you check in with yourself and go, if I'm really, really honest, what's the answer to this question? Because it's only in the honesty that we see where the opportunities lie. Okay. And when I ask myself these questions, it's quite scary what the answers are. Because when I'm truly honest, all my excuses disappear, and it's quite scary the work that is needed in that space. Okay. So do you or have you ever overcommitted your time, your money, or your energy? So that's just a yes or no answer. Quite simple. Have you ever? Yes or no. And then perhaps saying whether it's time, money, energy, or all of the above. Certainly for me, it's all of the above. But the next question is this. What do you notice when this happens? How do you feel? What do you think? And what actions do you take? So, well, certainly for me, the first answer is, of course, there are times when I've overcommitted my time, my money, or my energy. And as a result, I've experienced burnout more than once. Mostly because I overcommit my time and my energy. And then there's this thing about money for me, which is I spend just slightly more than I've got. Doesn't matter how much I've got or how little I've got. I spend just slightly more than I've got. And this is a lifelong habit. So clearly, what's happening for me is I'm not paying attention to myself. Is this possible? Do I actually have the time to do this? Well, if I really paid attention to myself and I looked, I'd notice that I didn't have time. And then what's happening when I overcommit my time? The key thing here is not letting other people down or thinking, oh, that's amazing to do, and that's amazing to do, and that'd be fabulous to do, and thinking, before I kind of stop and look, I've got time to do it all. So that's what happens when I overcommit my time. And as a result, I overcommit my energy. So I don't tend to overcommit my energy in the sense of, if I'm running a race, I go so fast at the beginning, I've got none left. I've learned not to do that, because don't get me wrong, I have in the past run out of energy halfway through and had to drag myself home. But I don't fully overcommit in that respect. There's still a bit at the end, which would, strangely enough, would have been available all the way through, but my brain was going, "Oh no, you haven't got the energy." Now I've got it. Okay, off I go. 100 meters from the end. Now I can sprint. Yeah. But it's a common thing for me to not slow down enough to notice that really the answer is no. Or really, if I check in my diary, I've already got something in there. Or all of those things. And when I then notice, there's a couple of things that go on in that. How do you feel? How do I feel? Annoyed, irritated, embarrassed, because then I don't honor my word to other people. Because if I've committed to do something and I've got too much to do, none of them get done in the way they should, and often they don't get done on time. So then I'm feeling quite annoyed and upset and embarrassed. What do I think? Well, often, you idiot. You know, or other words to that to that degree, often not quite so polite. And what actions do I take? Make excuses to myself, make excuses to others. This is the habit, this is the pattern of my past. This isn't the pattern of the present or the future. This is the pattern of my past. This is the pattern I'm constantly practicing changing. So I wonder what the answers are for you guys. Sarah, just to let you know, the opening question has been, do you ever overcommit time, money, or energy? And then what do you notice when this happens? And it was, how do you feel? What do you think? And what actions do you take? My premise is everybody's going to answer yes to the first question. That's my thinking. Unless you've really got this sussed, in which case, please help. So anybody willing to share what they notice?
Sorry, could you repeat that question again? I'm just trying to write it down.
Okay, it's what do you notice? No, so do you ever overcommit your time, your money, or your energy? Yeah. And what do you notice when this happens? Yeah. So anybody want to share? I've shared a little bit about me. Anybody?
I'm willing to go. So
Okay, cool.
obviously it's yes. Then I get completely overwhelmed. I then go into ostrich mode and I have complete denial. And I just continue to, and I kind of do whatever it is, regardless. So yeah, so I go in a complete bubble of denial and just, yeah, and I kind of, because I can't not do something then.
Okay. What happens if it's literally time you've run out of? What happens then?
Then
I know the answer to what happens when you run out of money, so I'm not going to ask that one.
no, we don't talk about that. But if I run out of time, I don't know, because I just make the time. I will just cut back on sleep, or I will.
Oh, okay. So then you cram.
Yeah.
You go into cramming mode.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So you're then switching into hyper focus and cram mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which has reminded me of something that happens for me, and something that I'm still work in progress practicing, which is my tendency to deadline dance. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time. Oh shit, there's no time. Yeah. So my ability to, at times, my ability to notice the amount of time something will take and give it that time has often been challenged. And again, then there's the pressure. I put myself into chronic stress, put myself into that stress state. And when I'm constantly doing this, what happened was put myself into chronic stress overload. Because there was this disconnect, this dichotomy. I can't let others down, and I've already let myself down because I haven't noticed what's possible for me. So I haven't held what I want to do in high regard, just what others need from me. Thank you for sharing, Michaela. You said you go into ostrich mode. How does that feel?
It feels uncomfortable, but then because straight afterwards I go into complete denial, then like it's almost like the the la 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 kind of.
Oh, you play music in your head?
Yeah, absolutely. Just so it's complete denial. But yeah, that is where the way that I go into it.
Okay, I'm curious. What happens when complete denial hits the reality of the truth of the matter?
Oh, that what you mean when I actually have to face things? I feel.
What are the feelings then? Yeah.
Oh, just don't. I feel sick. I feel my stomach literally turns into knots, and I completely stress out. I probably eat too much, and number of things is probably where I would go.
So I'm curious. What I noticed is I didn't learn from my habits. I didn't learn from the pain that I felt. So I'm curious, have you noticed any learning from that pain?
No.
Okay.
Well, no. I will say no, but then I have started being better with my time, and I have started using the word no.
And that's because we've done a lot of work on that. Yeah. But without that input and without that noticing, it would have stayed the same. Is that what you're suggesting? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing, Michaela. That's really powerful of you sharing. And I'm sure you're not the only one in the room sitting there and feeling some of those things that you've said. Anybody else willing to share? I noticed Catherine nodding her head.
I don't mind sharing. For me, there's two different types of running out of time. In terms of work, very often there are so many meetings scheduled at the same time. I have to pick and choose what I'm going to attend based on how important is it for me to attend in terms of my own work, and then also is a session recorded? Can I listen to it later? So for work, I don't get too bothered because I know that it's just everyone's in the same boat. Everything needs to be done like yesterday. So that's not so bad. But I have noticed that it's not as bad as perhaps it could be, but I do forget to put things in my calendar, and then I might overschedule myself. But generally, I'll just think, oh, what a silly Billy, and I'll just decide who I'm going to reach out to and try and move the appointment. But then the other thing that I do, which you will know, is I say to you, oh, I'll meet you at such and such a time. And then I give myself the bare minimum time to get there, and then I get stuck in traffic. So I think I could do with learning to leave 5 or 10 minutes earlier. I could do with having the Rob input there. But I just feel frustrated when I'm late. So
okay, I'm interested that you feel frustrated that you're late, because I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. Sometimes you message me saying you're just leaving 5 minutes before you're supposed to be meeting me.
I know. I don't think I've been quite that bad recently.
No, but what I started to learn for myself is I knew I was going to be late a long time before the 5 minutes before the time to meet.
Yeah.
And I've started to notice that I can take an action at that point rather than avoid it and try and pretend that I'm going to get there on time.
Well, I just sort of forget.
Yeah.
I sort of have my own little time system that isn't the same as everyone else's.
That's that inability with time that a lot of us struggle with.
Mm.
Yeah. A lot of us struggle with that idea that time flows. And I'm so familiar with what you're saying. You know, I think I was talking to you earlier about the fact that technology has saved me considerably in terms of not overcommitting my diary. But if it's not technology putting stuff in my diary, I can still overcommit, or I can still forget. And if an appointment comes on an email, if I'm not in the right frame of mind or in the right place when I see that email, it doesn't go into the diary.
I love that you get texts from GPs and then you can just shoot it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I got an email from a GP today with some actions I need to take. And I opened that while we were having lunch, and I haven't done anything with it. And that's one of the challenges for me. Yeah. So how soon do you take action when you notice that you've overcommitted?
As soon as I notice that I've overcommitted.
As soon as you've noticed.
Like,
which is all you can do.
Yeah, I booked like a physio appointment and a hair appointment at the same time. So
as you were supposed to be swimming. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's a work in progress. But I mean, I think I'm better than I used to be, but there is still room for improvement.
That thing with time is really interesting, isn't it? Do you ever overcommit or undercommit your energy?
Me?
Yeah.
Some things that I commit to doing, like helping at the Chill Swim events, I know it's going to take a lot of energy from me, but then I sort of balance that with what I'm doing either side of that. So I don't think so in terms of energy.
So you feel you're better at managing energy than time?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I maybe can learn from you from that one. I love that. Anybody else willing to share their reflections on this particular section? Go on then, Liz.
So I have learned one thing, and I never committed to the parent-teacher association things because that just immediately fried my brain. But I learned it because I did a lot of au pairing and I saw what it did to other mums who were similar to me who committed. So I really stuck my heels in and was able to say no, even though it was exactly the sort of thing that I really wanted to do at the time. And I managed not to. So that was good because I saw what happened to other people who wanted to engage. And
so you listened to the bit of your brain that said, this isn't good for you.
The sensible bit. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Rather than listening to the heart that said, go on, do it.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive. Well done.
The worst case scenario is I do the deadline dodging.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm quite successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. The worst deadline dodge was when we still used to have to handwrite our, essays and stuff at uni, and it was the only A that I ever got.
So unfortunately, I guess that told you that this is a good way of doing stuff.
Good way of doing stuff. So that's really, really horrible, because it never happens again. But when you do commit, or when I commit, and I realise that I'm not going to be able to do the job that I thought I would be able to do and keep cheerful and motivate everyone else to join in and, be like that person, I really dig my heels in and I'm like, I'm going to blooming show them. And then it I'm putting so much pressure on myself and I'm like, yeah, I've made my bed. I'm lying in it and I'm going to do this, and I do get to the end of it, but then it's then that's when it's the burnout thing. I can't put my head in the sand because that is too stressful for me.
Yeah,
it's
you seem to have lost Michaela for a bit.
Yeah. So that's it, and I feel trapped, I'm disappointed and depleted, but I will just show them. I'm going to show them. And then, you know, until the point where it's completed. And
So essentially you put yourself under stress.
oh, massive stress. Yeah.
Because it sounds to me like both of those are stressful. From my experience, deadline dodging is extremely stressful and very addictive.
Oh, you get that hit, don't you, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't get my inspiration unless I'm stressed. It was a belief I held for a very long time.
I had that belief in university.
Yeah.
Always leave it until the last minute to revise or complete essays, and yeah.
I had that belief until this afternoon when I was writing this. It's got to change, hasn't it? Okay, so I keep telling myself that one of these days I will not deadline dodge, because I know how much harm that did to me. Thank you for sharing there. And again, I think we're hearing things from looking at the faces of other people that are incredibly familiar to each of us in this room. There's a lot of smiling, there's a lot of nodding. So I think people are hearing things that are familiar.
I just say I don't deadline dodge.
No, you're a perfectionist though, so
No,
we were.
No, I just know it's too much stress. It just adds a huge amount of stress, and I don't know. I don't know. I do overcommit though. I mean, my answer was clearly yes, and the answer is stress, massive amounts of stress. But mine, I think, is to impress, or it was to impress other people, to find something that would lead somewhere else. So yeah, I'm with you. But
yeah, and I get that one as well. That business about, oh, I've got to do that because that'll look good. That will feel good. That will, you know, and sitting there, and I can actually remember conversations now when I was heading into burnout where I'm going, yeah, give it to me. I know what to do. And then literally afterwards going, where the fuck am I going to find the time?
And it's a pattern that just keeps repeating, isn't it? It does. It repeats. I've got it at the moment. So every time there's something going on with safeguarding fundamental, it's like, oh, me again. Should I just do that? And you just do it, don't you? It's like, I'll just do that.
Do you think it's a problem not being able to delegate, Jane?
This wasn't delegation because I would often whoops. This is the problem with dodgy ears. This wasn't delegation. This was a problem with, just going to check that that's actually kept it in my AirPods, yeah. This was a problem with desperately wanting to do stuff that would show that I was capable of doing it.
Yeah, okay.
And that I was the best person for the job to do that. And a lot of it in that last few years was about, I'll show you. You should have given me the job. Yeah. There was a lot of that going on. So that made it worse. You know, and often it's because I can see the answer. So I can see that the solution is simple. It's just that I've forgotten that I've also got these 20 million other things. I'm nicking your number there, Catherine, that are also got to be done. So that would be a challenge for me. Okay, so we've established this space where we tend to say we're going to do stuff and then struggle with the fact that we say we're going to do stuff. How often do you tell yourself, oh, wow, we've got Victoria. Awesome. How often do you tell yourself, say, tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a run? Yeah. How often do you tell Okay, Catherine, maybe not a run, but you tell yourself the evening before, this is what I'm going to do first thing tomorrow morning. And then first thing tomorrow morning, you turn the alarm off. And you don't get up. Yeah. This is some of that same pattern. This is now that bit where we're saying something to ourselves and we're not necessarily doing it. We're giving ourselves an excuse. And this is why I've said to you for this call, it's absolutely imperative that when you reflect on the questions, you don't find a way out of answering truthfully. You don't fudge it. because it's about spotting where this happens and how this happens. So what I want to talk to you about today is building this idea of self-integrity. This is where we're starting, because where we're moving to is this idea that when we're leading ourselves, we've got a purpose, we're building the steps, we know where we want to be, we know what we're going to do, we know how we'll know we've done it. And yet there's this bit, and then we're going to create the systems to do it. But there's this bit which is, we say, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the gym in the morning. I'm going to eat better, whatever it is. We say we're going to do it. And then we find an excuse. In the moment we go, actually, I don't feel like it. I'm really tired. I'm not going to get up and go for that run. I'm really tired. Or actually, do you know what? I haven't washed my sports bra and I don't really want to put on that smelly sports bra. So, you know, we come up with a reason, don't we? Or at least I do. So this idea of self-integrity, first of all, I want to ask you a question, and just give me an answer on this. You don't need to write it down. What's integrity mean? If you're sorry, what'd you say?
Being true to myself.
True to yourself. Okay. Can we expand on that?
In that the morals that I have and how I wish that I would be treated by others. So, yeah.
So you're talking there about acting in alignment with your values.
Yeah.
I'm hearing also an element in there of doing what you know to be right to do.
Yeah, morally, yes.
Morally right to do. Okay. Are there, and so self-integrity is that for yourself?
That's a bit harder.
That's interesting that you say that. So yes, of course, this is acting in alignment to your values. It's always coming from and aligning with your core values. It's also doing what you know is right to do. So that's not just about what you've said you're going to do. It's not just about what your own values are. It's about what you know is right to do outside of those.
I think it's about prioritizing as well. And I don't always necessarily have my aims at the top of the pile. So,
okay. Which is why we spent so much time on purpose. Because purpose guides us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's coming down to this idea of honoring your word, which we will explore. But yes, it's about value alignment, but there's so much more to it. For me, self-integrity is self-care. That's one element of it. It's honesty with self. It's holding yourself accountable, a word that came up yesterday in our call about leadership. Leadership is about being accountable. We asked what the actions of leadership are, and one of them is being accountable. And it's truthful with self. So honesty with self is accountability and truthfulness. As I said, it's doing what you know to be right all of the time, not just some of the time or most of the time, but all of the time. So not going, oh, well, I know I should stop because that bloke's broken down and he's an old bloke and he looks a bit lost and looks a bit upset. I know I should stop and help him, but I'm in a hurry. I need to get home. It's the knowing what you should be, what is the right thing to do. And it's following through. And this is the honoring your word. It's actually doing what you say you're going to do for yourself and for others. When we talk about self-integrity, this is about doing what you say you're going to do, what you've told yourself you're going to do. If I tell myself I'm getting up and going for a run in the morning, guess what I'm doing in the morning? Doesn't matter how I feel when the alarm goes off. Doesn't matter whether it's pouring down with rain, snowing, or whatever. If I've told myself I'm getting up and going for a run in the morning, I'm getting up and going for a run in the morning. No excuses. So it's the no excuses approach. And here's the thing, trusting yourself to do something, and we've all said And I know, Victoria, you've been working on this in a very big way, but we've all said that we don't always do what we've said we want to do for ourselves. We've all said it. Yeah. And the thing is, when we don't do it, what follows is a lack of trust in our ability to trust our word to ourselves. We create an action that says, oh, I say I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. And I think this is linked to that word trying. I'm going to try and get up in the morning and go for a run. And we're already giving ourselves a bit of an excuse in there, because if I don't feel like it, if it feels difficult, or if the weather's not right, or if my alarm doesn't go off, or if I forget to put my alarm on, or if it's too noisy for me to get my running gear out because I forgot to get it out before I started and I'm going to wake everybody else up in the house. Can you see how we're not, the action is saying, I'll say something I'm going to do, but it's quite likely that I might not do it. So there's no trust there. And if we want to build trust, we have to do what we say we're going to do. And this is what I mean by that is we're going to get to a point where when we say we're going to do it, we are going to do it. We've got to practice doing what we say we're going to do. Because commitment follows honoring your word. You will be committed to something when you practice honoring your word to yourself. It's not like I'm committed to following my word and then you practice it. It's the other way around. Commitment follows action, not action creating commitment. Commitment creating action, sorry. Commitment follows it. And don't give yourself excuses. Don't let yourself off the hook. Take responsibility. This is an invitation to you. What's the one thing now? Just look around you. Notice something that perhaps you can do. And I'm going to suggest that you tell yourself, I notice that there's a piece of paper there on my desk that needs putting in the bin. I'm going to put it in the bin. Tell yourself that. And then guess what? Go do it. So I want you to just look around your room, notice something that you can do that's very quick. Tell yourself you're going to do it, and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want each of you to practice that. So I want each of you to do something. Something very little, but just do it. So I've done mine. I'm wondering how many of, and I've seen some movement from some. Just wondering, has everybody done something?
I'm going to do it at the end.
Ah, that wasn't the point.
But I'm comfortable.
You're already in the excuses stage. Can you see that's what you're doing?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense to me to get up in the middle of a meeting and do
But
something.
this was an invitation to notice that we can create a gap, and when we create a gap, there's a possibility it doesn't get done.
Okay.
So this is an invitation to notice that we can notice something, we can state we're going to do it, and we can do it. So for example, I walked into the kitchen earlier with the dirty plates from our tea.
Mm.
And I noticed that I actually had time to fill the dishwasher straight away. So I said to myself, fill the dishwasher, and I filled the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on this evening, when I'm going to bed, I'm not going into the kitchen. Oh, I haven't loaded the dishwasher yet. I've got to load the dishwasher. Yeah? Or I'll leave it till morning. This is a way we build trust in ourselves to take the action we say we're going to take. It's a really simple thing. And I'm really glad that you noticed you created an excuse space.
Yeah. I think for me, I sort of tend to try and order what I'm going to do in the order that makes sense of priorities. So,
And how many times do you not do the things on your list?
it depends what it is.
But I want an honest answer here. How often do you say, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it over here, and it actually gets done? What percentage?
50%.
Yeah, okay. Would you like that to be higher? Would you like to be in action and get more stuff done so that you don't have this long list piling up against you?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, probably. I'm interested in the probably.
Oh, go away, Jane.
I'm just curious about that. Seriously, you said yes, and then you said probably, and I'm curious what brought the probably in.
I think it really depends on what the task is and whether it makes sense for me to go and do it. So,
Okay. Can I throw something else out to you? Can I throw something else out to you?
no.
The suggestion is, for example, say you walk into the kitchen and you notice that there's a plate on the side that needs to go in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
So nothing, I'm not asking for big actions here. Can you practice noticing, stating you're going to do it, and doing it straight away?
Yeah. I think for me, it's more emptying the dishwasher in the morning.
Okay. Well, can you practice noticing, taking action, noticing, stating, taking action? Now, there's a step I added in for myself here because I noticed I was reward based, as in I needed to feel good about it. So I added in when I started doing this, and it really is making a difference. And this is actually something I've worked on with Michaela a little bit. What I started doing was going, oh, I've just loaded the dishwasher and it's not like 10:30 at night. Oh, amazing. Well done. Oh, that feels really good. So not actually rewarding myself in any other way than going, oh, that feels really good. And paying attention to the fact it felt good. I've just spotted a whole massive area where I don't do what I know I know to do. There's so many areas I know I don't do what I know to do. There's so many areas for me. And when I was putting this together, it was like, oh, you know to do this earlier. That was a simple one. And I walk in here and it's like, you know you don't like bits of paper all over your desk. And yet you've left bits of paper all over your desk. But there are some bigger things. There are some much bigger things that I know not to do that I do. So, and I think we always spot more. There's always more to spot. And I love that what we've seen here, and I'm sure Catherine's not the only one who noticed an excuse bit coming in. Because it's a habit we do. And the more often we're in the habit of giving ourselves an excuse, the less likely we are to trust ourselves to do it, and the more likely we are to give ourselves an excuse. And the more we practice not allowing ourselves off the hook, the better we get at not allowing ourselves off the hook, and the more we trust ourselves to do it. It only changes when we take the action. And all I'm suggesting here is a very simple thing. Notice, declare, do. This is the action. Notice, declare, do. And start with little things. So one of the things that I spotted for myself was that I get really irritated when I go to the dentist and the dentist says, do you regularly, like every day, floss and everything else, your teeth, all of it, not just brush your teeth, but the whole rest of it? And it's like every single time it's a squirm and go, well, yeah, quite often, you know, several times a week. But I could never honestly answer yes to that. So last time I came, and it's like, but I don't actually want to pay the hygienist because that's another 100 quid or whatever it is, yeah? So I came back last time and I went, right, this is what I'm going to do. And then the other day when I wasn't feeling very well, there'd have been a normal excuse in my head that said, oh, you're so tired and you're really not feeling very well. It doesn't matter if you don't do it tonight. And I felt a real tension in my body. It's like, no, you can't not do it. You can't not do it. It's like, I've shifted from the norm being for me to come up with a reason why tonight's not the night to, oh, okay, this happens every night. And that was just by noticing, declaring to myself I was going to do it. Because basically I left all this stuff there in front of me, notice it, declare I'm going to do it. That's what shifted it from being comfortable with an excuse to having massive discomfort at the idea of an excuse. And that was quite an eye-opener for me. Oh, I've shifted a habit here. Moved it small, but I shifted it. No excuses. Take responsibility. And this is the thing, you see. At the heart of this, what it creates is greater sense of well-being. Because you can relax. You know that when you say to yourself you're going to do something, you're going to honor that. And you know when you say to somebody, I'm going to meet you at 9:30 in the morning, that you're going to do everything to be there at 9:30. You're going to put systems in place, and we'll talk about those, to be there at 9:30. And at the first moment that you notice you're not going to be there, because this is honoring your word, not being your word. When you notice you're not going to be there, then you create a new agreement. I've noticed I'm not going to be there. And this is something I started doing about a year ago when I heard Steve Hardison talk about this. It's like, oh, I can do that instead of hiding and pretending. Oh, that's good. I can do that now. That kind of helped me. You can go in and you can go, look, I'm really sorry. And you own it. You own it. You take in accountability. I've messed up here. I've not left enough time to leave the house to get to you on time. And you own it. I didn't get up on time or whatever it is, but you own it. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to make it from that time. Is it okay if we shift it to this time? And you recontract. And you create a new agreement. Unlike a person I used to work with, who we never set a meeting with her directly. We always rang her admin assistant, and she would put it in her diary for an hour earlier than it was supposed to be, because without fail, this person always turned up at least an hour late with an excuse as to why she was so busy she had to be an hour late. Now, you can imagine how that left everybody else feeling. This person doesn't value any of us. They're far too important to be here on time. They're going to be an hour late. Yeah? But there was always a stream of excuses as they walked through the door. How long did it take to shift? You're talking about the thing I said about.
Yeah.
So I've not yet had my next dental appointment, and dental appointments are 6 months. Yeah. And I hadn't noticed the habit. I hadn't noticed that the habit had shifted until I was faced with a situation that would normally have taken me out of the habit. And it was feeling that tension that made me realize that I'd shifted from it being something I was noticing, declaring, doing, to something I just did. It started with a notice, declare, do. And the thing is, I keep doing this. And each time I do this, I'm getting better at it. Each time I decide this is an action I'm going to take, I declare to myself I'm going to do it, because it's gone from little things like walking in the kitchen and declaring I'm going to empty the dishwasher or fill the dishwasher or whatever it is. It's gone from that. And there were so many things in that. There was sorting the washing out first thing in the morning. There was, so many things that would wait until I felt like it. And I've shifted all of those in the period of time that I've been practicing. And now it's bigger things. Now I'm shifting up to slightly bigger things, so that I'm building trust in myself. When I say I'm going to do it, I'm starting to believe I actually might do it. Yeah, I can honestly now say I commit to doing something and actually know I mean it, rather than I'm going to try and commit. to something. There are still massive areas that need work on, massive areas. But it started with that simple thing, notice, declare, do. That was given to me by another coach. It's a beautiful, simple little system. And there's another thing, my well-being. Yeah, well-being massively improves, but your relationship with others improves. Your relationship with yourself improves. You've got a sense of ease. It's much easier to honor your word because you're practicing honoring it. And this is what I mean by honoring it. I don't mean you do exactly what you said, because sometimes, well, we're all human, but we notice when we're not going to, and we do something about it. And from that comes a sense of inner peace. Until we notice another big area where we haven't actually done it. Oh shit, that's got to start now as well. And there's always something new. So I wonder if this is something each of you can practice. Notice, declare, do. Don't pick a certain thing. Just go into the habit of noticing stuff. Go into a habit of noticing. Because when you notice and then declare, and when each time you notice, you go into declare, those two words go together, and then do follows. Not notice, I'll do it later. Not notice, declare, I'll do it. I'll declare I'm going to do that in a few weeks' time. And then not do it, or even do it. Notice, declare, do. No time gap. Straight away. Because that makes the biggest difference. You see, the thing is, we talked about integrity. Integrity is like a cycle. It's kind of like actually doing the thing, trusting that you'll do the thing, building self-integrity. Can you see how it goes? And the more self-integrity you've got, the more likely you're actually going to do the thing, which means the more likely you're going to trust yourself, and the more self-integrity you've got. But there's a challenge with that as well. Because if you don't do the thing, then you don't trust yourself, and you've got no self-integrity, and you keep on not doing it, and guess what? Your trust in yourself and your self-integrity just spirals downwards. So it's both a virtuous circle and a vicious circle. It can be either. And it's dependent on whether you do the thing. It's not dependent on anything else. The only thing it's dependent on is whether you do the thing. So it's in motion versus inaction. In motion is planning to do the thing. Yeah. Oh, I'll do the thing. I'll do it here. Planning when you're going to do it. Creating lists. Beautiful. You feel like you're in motion. You feel like you're moving towards what you want because you've got that list. You know what you've got to do. I stopped doing lists a long time ago because guess what? I had things on the list that had been on there for over a year. You know, I'd start each school year with the same things on the list as I put on the previous year and then add other stuff. It's kind of like, what's the point of a list? I'm not doing them. It's just beating myself over the head with it. Why don't I just do something instead?
So,
and just, sorry, yes.
I quite like having a list. I think probably more for work so that I don't forget to do things.
There's nothing wrong with having a list to forget to do things, but it's the fact that we feel that we're doing something about it because we've put it on the list.
Okay, but just making a list and prioritising what's most important.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to read something that's taken directly from James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits. Okay? Because this helps you understand what I mean by this. When you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but they don't produce a result. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It doesn't matter how many times you go talk to the personal trainer, that motion will never get you in shape. Doesn't matter how many, and I'm going to add, it doesn't matter how many times you sign up at the gym. If you don't turn up and exercise, it won't make any difference. Only the action of working out will get you the result you're looking to achieve. So it's always the action that's the key thing here. The motion can get you to a point where you know what action to take, but the action is the only thing that makes it happen. I can buy all the weights that I like, but if I never lift them up, apart from getting them in the house, I'm not going to get stronger. It's the action that does it. And so it's kind of like that promise to ourselves, and it's a really big word. Can either make something happen or break everything. A promise to do this. You do it, and it's like, yes, amazing. Building trust, building connection, building relationship. And it could be building connection and relationship with yourself, building connection or relationship with somebody else. A promise to do it and then not doing it breaks everything. You've let everybody, yourself, and that connection down. So in essence, integrity doesn't cost us anything, but we can lose everything if we haven't got it. So the key takeaway on this integrity thing, and I'm going to suggest a video that for some of you for you to watch if you want to watch it, because I think it's a beautiful description. Let me just try and get the chat up so I can put it in the link. This video, I think, is quite a good description of what happens with building self-integrity. So let me just put this in the link. Oh, hang on. I don't know whether... Yes, it has come out. That's good. There you go. Can you get that? Because it's put it in very strangely. Does that link work? Because I can see it's put it in as something else other than put it in a text box for some reason.
Yeah, it works.
Awesome. That's good. Okay. So let's put that back over here. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So if you're curious and want to know more, this is an 11-minute video where this guy talks about the moment he realized that he wasn't holding himself to account for stuff, that he wasn't sitting in self-integrity, and what happened and what shifted in his life when that shifted. A monumental shift. So it could be the thing that shifts you being from stuck in a job you don't want to creating the life of your dreams. It could be a symbol, because that's what happened for him. And it can be that. So the willingness and ability to consciously choose to act decisively is the real power. It's a conscious decision. You can do it or you don't do it. But there's power in making that choice. And that's my invitation to you, to hang on to that power and practice by making that decision. So there was a little bit in there about values. Because this thing about acting in integrity is about acting in alignment with our values. And sometimes we're not sure what those are. And sometimes we only know what they are when we're in the biggest piece of pain. We only know our values aren't in action when we feel crap. So I wonder, where do you feel resentful, disempowered, or lacking in time? What was it about those things that left you feeling resentful, disempowered, or lacking in time? What is it? What comes to mind in those areas? Because they're a clue to where your boundaries have been challenged and where your values have been challenged or ignored. So just explore that. What really annoys you? It's a really good guess, a really good indicator. What really annoys you in people's behaviors and actions? There's one particular politician at the moment who is definitely ticking all my boxes of this really annoys me. Very, and to the extent that I struggle to leave him on the telly when he's on the telly. So much of ticking my boxes, and I'm not going to name him, but everybody knows who I mean. And he's not British.
I turned JD Vance off the other day after screaming at it.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, same sort of idea.
No, worse, almost worse.
Yeah, he doesn't sound quite so stupid and childish.
No, he sounds more dangerous and awful.
Yeah,
Just to me, to my ear. I
I'll
know
be 100% honest. Like somebody who is just and also not coming out well, Patel, when he's being questioned, it's just like, I'm kind of, is the sky blue? What is blue? And I'm kind of, what is sky? I mean, just will not answer.
but that's what they're trained to do, not answer the question. I guess the thing here is, are you noticing places where there's this big resentment, disempowerment, lacking in time? And the reason I'm saying this is a clue to your well-being too, is because if you stay in those spaces where your values are challenged, then you don't feel well. And it's such a powerful thing that I remember hearing a head teacher say it once. And I felt it so powerfully when he said it, that when I became a head on the very first day of my substantive headship in the training that I did, there was a very clear, this is the values that this school is going to uphold. This is where we're going to operate from. And if your values are over here, you might want to leave. Not because I don't want you in my school, but because this is going to be really difficult for you. Because I'm asking you to act from this set of values and you want to act from these. If you're over here and you're nearby, that's cool, because actually that's going to fit for you. They don't have to be exactly the same, but they need to fit. But if you're over here and they're polar opposite, you're just going to constantly resent the fact that here is where I'm wanting you to act. And when you're stressed, you're not going to act from here. And for your own well-being, you may want to find a school that's sitting over here, not over here. And there are plenty of those around. So, that's why it's important. Linda, I saw you take your mic off, put your mic on, sorry. So I get a sense that you're desperate to share at this point.
I was just going to say, because I came up with resentful when we looked at time and over.
Yeah.
I it doesn't matter how much I might have gone, yeah, I'll do it. I do feel resentful. But when we're looking at this from a values and integrity point of view, and as you know, I was in an employment where the leader of the organisation was able to talk like an audiobook for values and integrity. Unfortunately, the actions don't fit. So
that's important as well, isn't it?
Are so important, but actually it hurts more when they're there and ignored.
Yes. Well, that's that thing, isn't it, about stating something and acting from it.
Yeah.
Because you're not being in integrity when you're saying this is who I am, and yet you show up like this. You know, there's a standard phrase for a head teacher: walk the talk. Yeah. Do what you say you're going to do. Be who you say you are.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you're leading from a place where it's smoke and mirrors, so you know what you're meant to say and what you're meant to do to have a positive and a team that feel valued and respected. You know what you're meant to do, but actually you do the opposite because that suits you, but you keep putting that in front. It makes everybody distrust everything then.
It does. And it goes back to how we build trust with ourselves and in our own selves. If we pick and choose when we actually do what we say we're going to do, or we just put it on a list, but we don't actually do it, then we're not building trust in ourselves. And you're absolutely right. You're spotting where that shows up in leadership. And there's that classic thing, isn't there? And I used to hear this: do what I say, not what I do. And that just doesn't drive trust, doesn't drive connection or relationship, doesn't build a sense of belonging. And so what we're saying here is do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you are, who you are. Be who you say you are.
you've got to act in line with value
Yeah,
and
in
not
alignment with your values.
say that they're there. Yeah, in an organization, it can cause. I mean, I've seen people that were really close turn against each other, and it's actually because of the distrust coming from one area. It just filters because everybody starts to.
So what you're pointing to here, and you're seeing it in an establishment, and it happens a lot in establishments, and we've got it in a country at the moment. What you're pointing to here is that inconsistency creates distrust.
Yeah.
And lack of integrity. So I want to point that back at ourselves. If we're inconsistent with ourselves, if sometimes we show up for ourselves and we take notice of our needs, and we're slowed down enough to realize when no's no and yes is yes, and that we give ourselves time to do stuff, and we don't constantly, like I was doing, create lists and not do the stuff that's on the list, which was one of my things. Oh, it's not important enough. It's not important enough. Well, don't put it on the list then. Yeah. Or wait until somebody chases you for something to do it. None of that's helpful, because you're creating tension in your own body.
Yeah.
Like we started with that question. How did you feel? How did you feel when you overcommitted your time, money, or energy? Because our feelings are a clue to whether we're acting in alignment with ourselves. So that's the next question. Where do you feel most aligned? With yourself or in environments? Where are you most aligned? Where do you feel that sense of that trust is there, that relationship, that connection is there? Where do you feel most aligned?
Can you give us an example of what you might mean? Is that if that's a question?
Yeah, so I'll give you a very powerful example for me, which was as an assistant head. I worked in a school where we had one head, and there was a real discomfort and a disquiet. I didn't feel settled. I didn't feel like I could show up and just be me and trust that doing that was going to help. Yeah.
Okay.
So there I was challenged, but we changed heads. And I suddenly realized that this head was coming at education in the same way as I did. And that they valued connection, relationships, and those were at the heart of their education philosophy. And inclusion so those became my values. Well, because I hadn't noticed that those were my values. I just noticed a shift from this is uncomfortable to this feels good.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Stay here and say what you're going to say rather than leave the room.
Which don't come easy. I think it's in pretty much all of the things that I'm now choosing to do. So inside of the safeguarding fundamentals with people that are working inside of there together with me, absolutely, we're all on the same page and we have fun and we're doing the right things. We're all very different and we, there's stuff goes on, but it's absolutely on the same page. And people we're adding to the team are also on the same page, which is just, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. But the same could be said of the Multi Academy Trust. We constantly say they're one of us.
Yes.
We're recruiting somebody, maybe a finance director, whatever it might be, and you recruit against a standard that you need for a finance director. But in the end, it's, are you one of us? Because it has to be part of that team, doesn't it? So kind of everything that I'm doing at that level feels aligned and right and simple and easy. And it's a joy. Everything you do inside of it is a joy.
Beautiful. And that means everything is in alignment with what matters most to you. And that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about living in integrity, when we're talking about living aligned to your values and what you know is right to do. It is coming from that place where you know what is right to do and you're going to do it.
And it's easy. It's
Yeah.
just, isn't it? There's no
Yeah.
hassle with
A-
it.
And you're not second guessing, is this going to work or is this not going to work? Which is why I said to the staff, this is not meant as a go away because I don't want you. This is meant as a, this will be really, and it was personal experience as well. I had personal experience of when my values
Yeah,
didn't
I know.
match the values of the school. And it's kind of like,
Many of
it's
them. Many,
going
many
to be
of them.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's going to be stressful. I'm not saying my values are right and your values are wrong. I'm saying my values are these values and this is where the school is going.
Please don't lead me down that path. I shall not be naughty. No.
Yeah. It's quite, it's about well-being. So
Yeah.
when you don't know what your values are, then you're not making decisions against, is this right for me and my values? You're not sure what they are. So the clues are, where do you feel most settled, most aligned, most in tune, most connected? Where do you feel the exact opposite? And often we notice that most because it's that feeling. And tension builds. And we get, however we get, but we get that feeling, don't we? We feel like we don't belong. And it's not that we don't belong, it's just that we're coming from a different place. So we don't belong in that value set. And when we're in our own when we're coming from that place, it's much, much simpler then to act in alignment, in integrity to those values. Because they feel good to do.
It gives you more time as well, doesn't it? Because you're not constantly
Yeah.
sitting and worrying and blathering on about it. So Catherine will have much more time to empty a dishwasher.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that, isn't it? That it's that thing that all of a sudden time happens when we actually get into the habit of going back to that notice, declare, do. When you get into the habit of notice, declare, do, time opens up in front of you.
And I've spent many years in that other place, many, many years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But time creates itself because we've slowed down enough to notice what's right. And this is the key, going back to that place of slowing down. And right in that first conversation we had, we talked about what's possible if you unconditionally love yourself. Now, in part of unconditional love is a creation of trust. You unconditionally love yourself, then you know you're going to act. And sometimes just the fact that we don't trust ourselves to act can remove some of the unconditional, and it makes it hard to do that. But the invitation here is to allow that freedom. Just take those actions that move you in that direction, one action at a time. Because guess what? There only is now. There isn't that thing ahead of time actually doesn't exist yet. There's nothing ahead of now until now creates it. It's not there. Just as the past is a creation in your head. So slow down enough to notice the now. And when you slow down enough to notice the now, you're paying attention to here. You're paying attention to self and heart. And you're noticing what the feelings and the sensations. You're connected to your body. Because more often than not, when your body is giving you feelings and sensations that are not comfortable, it's telling you something. It's telling you something's out of alignment. Maybe you're stuck in your head, in your thoughts. And when you then slow down enough and you connect to your body and you go, oh, wow, that feels really good. It's telling you something again. It's telling you, yes, this is exactly where I'm meant to be. This is exactly who I'm meant to be. So being slowed down to that space is a beautiful space. I have an invitation to you, not for today, but alongside this notice, declare, do, explore, if you haven't already, the three things, the three ideas. For me, love is a key value. Come from love, be love. 3 words like that: kindness, caring, compassion. And I know for Antonia, kindness is a really strong one. Be kind. Yeah. come up with 3 words. Explore. What are the if you haven't done this already, what are the 3 most important values for you, so that you're aware of them, so you have them front and center, so they're easy to check. Try and explore that. And when you've done that, test it. If I lived by this value, how would my life feel? Would it feel meaningful and aligned? If I ignore it, what happens? How does what happens to my well-being? What happens to my feelings? What are the outcomes I get? And then live from this place. Live from the 3 that you've come up with. Sorry, we've lost Michaela. And the reason so there's one more element to talk about in the last few minutes, because I want to keep it simple, because without that integrity piece, nothing else happens. And this bit I know that Michaela knows, because we've done some work on this in our coaching sessions. We've been talking about leadership. When I build a strategic plan, there are several elements on it. First of all, I have to know where I'm going. I have to know the purpose. I have to know the vision. I have to know the purpose. We've spent time on the purpose. That's okay. I have to know the values, because those underpin. We've just looked at those. We have to know that we're acting from integrity. So every action that we take is going to further the values, further the purpose, and that nothing happens out of alignment with that. Ever. And when it does, we come back to alignment, or we challenge it. But a strategic plan doesn't work unless it has, where am I going? How do I know I've got there? The questions we asked in the second session. And what's the system? What's the steps? What are the actions that we're going to continuously have in place that will make it happen? So before I started my first job as a substantive head, what I put my time and effort into was, what systems can I create that will mean that the actions of the staff further the direction of travel of this school and create the vision that I've got, deliver on the purpose of what I've got. So that's what a system is. A system is a way of having a way of behaving that creates the outcome that you want. Yeah. So I'll give you an example for a system in the school. It's like, I want staff to look at behavior this way. So I created a system that took them through the steps of behaving this way. I went to a presentation by Paul Dix yesterday, who's an incredible guy around relational behavior approaches in schools. And he has a very simple system. Teach every member of staff how to relate to a child when they're not doing what you want them to do in 3 steps. And don't bother with anything else, because that's the only thing that matters. If they comfortably know how to do that, they can do anything else. So it's a system. Guess what? If we're leading ourselves, we can employ the same idea. And we can create systems for ourselves. And actually, I would suggest you already have systems in play. And those systems are perfect for the outcomes you've already got.
Mhm.
Yeah? So the systems that you have in play right now are brilliant systems, and they give you what you get. The thing is, some of those systems might not be giving you what you want. So there's a mismatch. This system, perfect, designed to give you what you get. And it's also in place because it's what's kept you safe. But it's also kept you where you are. And nothing shifts because the system hasn't shifted. And what do we do in business and in education when something's not giving us what we want? When the system's not working? We don't go, well, I'm just going to do more of the system. Because guess what? If we just did more of the same and we knew that we weren't getting the outcome, it wouldn't make any difference. We'd have to change the system. And sometimes it's a tweak. And sometimes it's a throw it out, start again. revolutionized rather than evolution. Revolution versus evolution. That's sometimes what's needed. But it wouldn't be any good if we just added a new system rather than, if something's not working and we just go, oh, I'm just going to add this, then maybe it'll work. We've still got the one that's not working. So that wouldn't be any good. And yet that's what we do to ourselves. We go, oh, the outcomes I'm getting at the moment aren't working. I know, I'll try this diet over here, or I'll try this exercise plan over there, or I'll try that particular solution over there. The problem is we haven't got rid of the old system. We've just picked another one as well. So we've still got the old system in play that goes, but this is the outcome we get over here. So I wonder if there's something that's happening in your life that isn't giving you the outcome you want. And I wonder if you can explore what the possible system is. I'm going to give you an example for me to make it easier. So I have a system that goes like this. Oh, I feel bored, tired, stressed, sick, hungry, a whole range of things. My dopamine levels are low. I know what I'll do. I'll eat. That's my system. Oh, good. Eating makes me feel better. Oh, damn, it didn't work very long. But that's my system. Yeah, I feel like this. This is what I'm going to do. So I could do every diet under the sun, but I've still got this system in place that goes, I feel like this. I'll eat. Now, and Michaela's not here, but I know she wouldn't mind me talking about this. This was exactly Michaela's system. Yeah? Eating makes me feel better. And what we did was we worked very, very closely on this. We looked at every step of that system that was in place. What's the decision maker here? What is creating the I'll eat? And what was creating I'll eat was I feel like I need to eat. Yeah? And so what we did was we went, okay, we're noticing a feeling and we're going, this means I'll feel better if I eat. So we changed it. Right. Notice the feeling. Am I hungry? No. Am I hungry? Yes. Nothing else mattered. It didn't matter whether you were stressed, bored, tired, feeling sick, whatever it was. None of those matter. Am I hungry? Yes. No. Decision made. Yeah. And the thing is, you don't always get it right. Sometimes you still go, oh, but you can practice your new system. Just like I practiced noticing that the floss was there, using it, and now it's a habit. You can practice. Yeah. So the invitation is this for the last few minutes. Where's one area of your life that you're constantly saying you want to change and nothing is changing? Just one. I've got loads, but I don't want to focus on loads because that would overwhelm me. Where's one area? And what's the possible system that's currently at play? Anybody willing to share what's coming up for them? Go on,
I think
then,
I
Sarah.
have.
Okay, cool.
For me, it's communication.
Okay.
I mean, there's a whole load of others, but
Oh, we've all got
Um,
lots. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, communication. I couldn't really understand what you meant about the systems in place.
Okay. So let's work it through then. You're talking about communication. Are you meaning not communicating? Are you meaning over? What are you meaning about communication?
Probably not communicating enough when I should.
Okay. All right. So is that not saying what you're feeling or just not talking to people?
Just not talking to people.
Okay. So you said you have a system that keeps you quiet. That's what you're saying.
Mm.
Yeah. So give me an example where this might play out. Would it play out, for example, in the shelter at Swimscapes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what would you like to happen?
To be more outgoing and bubbly and
Okay. So what's the current thing that stops you speaking? What's the decision in your head that happens that goes, I'm not going to speak?
probably worried about others' reactions.
Okay. So let's
Or
just
if I
take
can
that
join
one.
in with that conversation.
Okay. Let's just take that one. Yeah.
Mm.
So what in your decision matrix for deciding about whether I speak or not, one of the decisions is, what if I don't get it right? Yeah. Does that sound about right? What would happen if I didn't say the right thing at the right time to the right person? Does that seem about right?
Yeah.
So you've got a decision matrix in there that goes, I'd really like to join this conversation. I want to talk to this person. So you've got those two things. I really want to join a conversation. I want to talk to this person. And then there's this next step that goes, oh, but what if I don't get it right? Can you see that's in your head? That's not real, is it? It's a thought. It's not a concrete thing you can touch. It's not real.
Yeah. That makes
Yeah. Okay. So the thing you've got in your decision matrix is whether this is okay or not. What would be possible for you? Just curious. If that thought, if that thought came in your head and it didn't have any power to stop you, what would be possible?
I'd be able to communicate
Okay.
and say without worrying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you might worry, but you'd do it anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So in other words, if that thought had no power and didn't have any evidence, didn't have any truth behind it, it was just a thought. If you were able to go, oh, that's just a thought, yeah, and not go, I need to believe this thought, I need to act on this thought, I need to sit back and wait until somebody talks to me. I'm speaking from my own experience here. And then it's okay to speak to them because they're talking to me. Yeah. If you didn't have, that's my experience. I don't know how you feel. That's my experience. Yeah. But if you didn't have that, then you just talk. Yeah. Okay. So the key element here is your current system has a step in it that gets in the way. Can you see that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The step it's got in it that gets in the way is you pay attention to what's in your head. Yeah. Now, I can see that it feels quite difficult not to be in your thoughts. Yeah. But I'm giving you a suggestion here, which is an action, a different system, which is, I want to talk to this person. So I'm going to talk to this person and not pay attention to the what happens if it doesn't work. Yeah. Because there's this incredible thing that happens. A conversation starts. And the reason that I know this to be true is because I've done it. Yeah. This is my, this one that you're talking about is my one. Yeah. I stand in that shelter and I go, oh, there's all these conversations going on. Yeah. They're all talking to each other. So I can't really intrude on their conversations because they're all talking to each other. Yeah. And then I go, oh, fuck it. I'll talk to somebody, anyway. Yeah. And that last bit is an action. It's me pressing this little button I've got here on my computer, which is, oh, fuck it anyway. I'll do it. Yeah. Despite the thoughts. So I've created a step. I've created in my system. Notice I'd quite like to have a conversation and have a conversation. And I've taken out the pay attention to the barriers to having a conversation. The different, and it's not that I'm not having the thoughts, it's that I'm acting anyway. Yeah. Notice, declare, do. I notice I want a conversation. I declare I'm going to have a conversation. So I stand there and say something. Sometimes I have a conversation. Sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. But I'm still doing, notice I want a conversation. Declare I'm going to have a conversation. Do, start a conversation. And I've broken it down to something simple as that. Yeah. Despite the crap that's going on in my head that says hide at the back and wait for somebody to talk to you. Yeah. Because it's the only way you build relationships is to take action. They don't happen when you hide.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They only happen when you stand front and center and say, hey, look, I'm here. Yeah. So it's notice, declare, do. Very simply. We're out of time, just about. But was there anything anybody else wanted to say in that? Because I felt it was really important to have that conversation with Sarah. And I wonder if that's highlighted the idea of systems. Because all I'm saying to Sarah is follow this system. I'm not saying do anything else. I'm not saying you need to have the willpower. You need to not do something. I'm simply saying follow this system. Do it. Yeah. Can anybody see how for the things they've written down, they can do something as simple as that for themselves? Yeah, and it's again goes back to notice, declare, do. Sorry, Antonia.
Try.
That word try.
No, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go tomorrow.
Practice.
If I said
Yeah,
I would,
perfect. Yeah, the word to use rather than try is practice. And the only reason I say that is we don't give ourselves an excuse when we say we're practicing. We allow ourselves not to get it right because that's what practice is. Yeah. And we allow ourselves, not to be brilliant at something and to sometimes cock it up and sometimes go in completely the wrong direction because we're practicing.
I got it. If it helps Sarah at all, loads of people who have jobs that are about speaking are quite anxious about doing it too. I promise you.
Speak to lots of teachers.
Growing up in the nose. Honestly, I have a pebble and I should be speaking at 30 years being a barrister, but I had to have like a sensate pebble to stop myself being anxious because we are, loads of us are, we're just better at covering it up.
I say I have this real problem that you do, and yet I was a teacher and a leader and a head teacher and constantly, and I'm doing it now.
Practice. Yeah? Oh God, I've used the word practice. Oh goodness.
Perfect. Well done.
Oh Lord. No way.
So just what I want to point to is that everything we've done in the last four sessions has been tasters of what's possible if you do a longer program on this, because each area and more would be covered in much more detail. But what I wanted to do, and I will do some more of these, but what I wanted to do was to give you an indication of what self-leadership is. And I hope that in coming to these calls and in watching the videos, that is something that has shown up for people. How it can be something that is accessible to everybody, and how it can create the change you want. Yeah. And it comes from a place of, well, the reason I put this together is it's coming from that value for me, which is, you know, love and creating possibility for everybody to lead the life that they want to lead without chronic stress, without burnout, in the space they want to be in. So that's what we're doing here. Okay. I do want to give you the invitation to play with the idea of notice, declare, do, to notice the systems in play rather than just add a new one. Notice what's actually in play, call it out, and see whether it needs throwing out or tweaking. Your communication one can be tweaked, just take a step off it. But it may be that in some cases, the current system in play is totally the wrong system for the outcome you want. In which case, you throw that one out and start a new one and practice using the new one. Okay. Thank you so much for coming to these sessions. It's been wonderful. And obviously continue to have conversations and see where it goes. Any feedback from anybody else that they just want to call off the call with?
Can I just say one thing to Sarah, please?
Of course you can, Linda.
Sarah, the one thing I would say is I get how difficult it can be to speak and start those conversations. And Jane and I have done some work around that. In my social life, I find it much easier in my professional life.
Me too.
The problem is, in my professional life, what I can tend to do because I'm nervous is babble a lot. So I will talk more. So I think for somebody who holds back, you will probably look at people that are talking a lot and think that they're very confident, and that's why they're doing that. It might not be. It might be somebody like me who just gets verbal diarrhea. But I get that the two can not always help each other, because it makes somebody else draw back while that's going on. So just wanted you to think that sometimes when you hear people that sound like they're full of confidence, it's actually covering the nerves that are going on